Welcome to Julius Caesar Act IV. Act IV picks up a couple weeks after the end of Act III. Cassius and Brutus and all the conspirators have been forced to flee and are now on the defense from Mark Antony, Octavius Caesar, and a third member, Lepidus, who is the third member of what is called the Triumvirate. Triumvirate because there's three of them. These three men are trying to take control of Rome from the rebels represented by the other two. It is clear that Mark Antony has the majority control, but Brutus has not given up just yet. Naturally, this is not what Brutus and Cassius originally had in mind, so tempers are starting to flare. In Act 4, we're going to see the Triumvirate have a meeting, and we're going to see some divisions start to occur there, and we're also going to see how Cassius and Brutus are starting to show their flaws and start to foreshadow their downfall to come. Also remember to keep looking for those common themes, those common motifs, and try to see who is the tragic hero. Does anybody have a flaw, have a downfall, and then realize that downfall before the end? These are things you want to consider. Alright, so let's get started with Act 4, Scene 1.
These many then shall die. Their names are pricked.
Your brother too must die. Consent you, Lepidus?
I do consent, Octavius.
Prick him down, Antony.
Upon condition Publius shall not live. Who is your sister's son, Mark Antony?
He shall not live. Look with a spot, I damn him. But Lepidus, go ye to Caesar's house. Fetch the will hither, and we shall determine how to cut off some charge in legacies.
What, shall I find you here?
Or here, or at the Capitol.
It's interesting how the will that was used to rally the people is now being changed so that they don't get quite as much money. It's interesting how power corrupts people so quickly.
This is a slight unmeritable man. Me to be sent on errands. Is it fit, the threefold world divided, he should stand one of the three to share it?
So you filled him, and took his voice, who should be pricked to die in our black sentence and prescription.
Octavius, I've seen more days than you. And though we lay these honours on this man, to ease ourselves of divers slanderous loads, he shall but bear them as the ass bears gold, to groan and sweat under the business, either led or driven as we point the way. And having brought our treasure where we will, then take we down his load and turn him off, like to the empty ass, to shake his ears and graze in commons.
Well, you may do your will, but he's a tried and valiant soldier.
So is my horse, Octavius, and for that I do appoint him store of provender. It is a creature that I teach to fight, to wind, to stop, to run directly on. His corporal motion governed by my spirit, and in some taste is Lepidus, but so he must be taught and trained and bid go forth. A barren-spirited fellow, one that feeds on objects, arts, and imitations, which out of use and staled by other men begin his fashion. Do not talk of him but as a property. And now, Octavius, listen great things. Brutus and Cassius are levying powers. We must straight make head. Therefore let our alliance be combined, our best friends made, our means stretched. And let us presently go sit in council, how covert matters may be best disclosed, and open perils surest answered.
Let us do so, for we are at the stake, and bayed about with many enemies, and some that smile have in their hearts, I fear, millions of mischiefs.
This is a common theme that Octavius says at the end, how people may smile in their hearts, but they have some mischiefs beneath. Right now we see the Triumvirate is already starting to break. Octavius and Mark Antony are getting ready to push out Lepidus, and it's going to continue as the play goes on. So this is a common theme throughout the show, how when people gain power, it leads to corruption. Let's move on to Act 4, Scene 2, a very brief scene before the bulk of the act, which is Act 4, Scene 3. Brutus and Cassius's conversation.
Stand ho! Give the word ho! And stand! Stand ho! What now, Lucilius? Is Cassius near?
He is at hand, and Pindarus is come to do you salutation from his master.
He greets me well. Your master, Pindarus, in his own change or by ill officers, hath given me some worthy cause to wish things done undone. But if he be at hand, I shall be satisfied.
I do not doubt but that my noble master will appear such as he is, full of regard and honour.
He is not doubted. A word, Lucilius.
I just want to pause here because I hope that as those footnotes popped up, you were taking a chance to pause and read them. This moves rather quickly. There's a little bit of background about the relationship between how some of the soldiers are getting along. I'm not going to go through it because it's not overly essential to the plot, but it's important that you do read them on the side.
How he received you, let me be resolved.
With courtesy and with respect enough, but not with such familiar instances, nor with such free and friendly conference as he hath used of old.
Thou hast described a hot friend cooling. Ever note, Lucilius, when love begins to sicken and decay, it useth an enforced ceremony. There are no tricks in plain and simple faith, but hollow men, like horses hot at hand, make gallant show and promise of their mettle. But when they should endure the bloody spur, they fall their crests, and like deceitful jades, sink in the trial. Comes his army on.
They mean this night in Sardis to be quartered. The greater part, the horse in general, are come with Cassius.
Hark, he has arrived. March gently on to meet him.
Stand ho!
Stand ho! Speak the word along!
Stand! Stand! Most noble brother, you have done me wrong.
Judge me, you gods. Wrong I mine enemies. And if not so, how should I wrong a brother?
Brutus, this sober form of yours hides wrongs, and when you do them...
Cassius, be content. Speak your grief softly. I do know you well. Before the eyes of both our armies here, which should perceive nothing but love from us, let us not wrangle. Bid them move away. Then in my tent, Cassius, enlarge your griefs, and I will give you audience.
Pindarus, bid our commanders lead their charges off a little from this ground.
Sir. Lucilius, do you the like? And let no man come to our tent till we have done our conference.
Sir.
Let Lucius and Titinius guard our door.
So Act 2, Scene 2, or Act 4, Scene 2, rather, is rather simple. It's simply Brutus and Cassius meeting, and it's clear that Cassius is angry at Brutus for some reason. In addition, they are gossiping about how some of the other soldiers are not getting along. Now, what the problem is, we don't know just yet, but let's see what happens. Let's move on to Act 4, Scene 3, inside the tent.
That you have wronged me doth appear in this. You have condemned and noted Lucius Pella for taking bribes here of the Sardians, wherein my letters, praying on his side, because I knew the man, were slighted off.
You wronged yourself to write in such a case.
In such a time as this, it is not meet that every nice offence should bear his comment.
Let me tell you, Cassius, you yourself are much condemned to have an itching palm, to sell and march your offices for gold to undeservers.
Aye, an itching palm. You know that you are Brutus that speaks this, or by the gods, this speech were else your last.
The name of Cassius honours this corruption, and chastisement doth therefore hide his head.
Chastisement?
Remember March, the Ides of March, remember! Did not great Julius bleed for justice' sake? What villain touched his body that did stab, and not for justice? What shall one of us, that struck the foremost man of all this world, but for supporting robbers, shall we now contaminate our fingers with base bribes, and sell the mighty space of our large honours for so much trash as may be grasped thus? I'd rather be a dog and bathe the moon than such a Roman.
Brutus, bait not me. I'll not endure it. You forget yourself to hedge me in. I am a soldier, I, older in practice, abler than yourself to make conditions.
Go to, you are not, Cassius.
I am.
I say you are not.
Urge me no more. I shall forget myself. Have mind upon your health. Tempt me no further.
Away, slight man.
Is't possible?
Hear me, for I will speak.
So Cassius is very upset with Brutus because Brutus condemned a man to death that was taking bribes, even though Cassius had stuck up for them. Well, why does Brutus do this? Brutus feels that it's important to stick up for justice, even though they're at war, because that is what they did the assassination of Caesar for justice and for Rome. Remember, Cassius, it was never really about justice, or never really about the state. about jealousy, but meanwhile Brutus is holding these high standards.
Must I give way and room to your rash choler? Shall I be frighted when a madman stares?
Oh, gods, ye gods! Must I endure all this?
All this? I more. Fret till your proud heart break. Go show your slaves how choleric you are, and make your bondmen tremble. Must I budge? Must I observe you? Must I stand and crouch under your testy humour? By the gods, you shall digest the venom of your spleen, though it do split you. For from this day forth, I'll use you for my mirth, yea, for my laughter when you are waspish.
Is it come to this?
You say you are a better soldier. Let it appear so. Make your vaunting true, and it shall please me well. For mine own part, I shall be glad to learn of noble men.
You wrong me every way. You wrong me, Brutus. I said an elder soldier, not a better. Did I say better?
If you did, I care not.
When Caesar lived, he durst not thus have moved me.
Peace, peace, you durst not so tempted him.
I durst not.
No.
What? Durst not tempt him?
For your life you durst not.
Do not presume too much upon my love. I may do that I shall be sorry for.
You have done that you should be sorry for. There is no terror, Cassius, in your threats, for I am armed so strong in honesty that they pass by me as the idle wind, which I respect not. I did send to you for certain sums of gold, which you denied me. For I can raise no money by vile means. By heaven, I'd rather coin my heart and drop my blood for drachmas than to wring from the hard hands of peasants their vile trash by any indirection. I did send to you for gold to pay my legions, which you denied me. Was that done like Cassius? Should I have answered Gaius Cassius so?
So it's clear now why Brutus is upset. Cassius denied Brutus money. Well, why? Brutus was unable to get the money because he says he must raise money honestly. He can't get it through bribes like Cassius can or some other soldiers, because Brutus holds himself to a higher standard. But think about it for a second. If Brutus gets money from Cassius, and Cassius gets money from bribes, isn't Brutus really getting money from bribes? This is what we call money laundering. Brutus, much like Caesar, thinks that he is far above all the other men because he holds himself to high standards, but in the end, he's part of the same system. Again, this is another flaw in Brutus's character. He doesn't even realize it sometimes, but it is there.
When Marcus Brutus grows so covetous to lock such rascal counters from his friends, be ready, gods, with all your thunderbolts. Dash him to pieces.
I denied you not.
You did.
I did not. He was but a fool that brought my answer back. Brutus hath rived my heart. A friend should bear his friend's infirmities, but Brutus makes mine greater than they are.
I do not till you practice them on me.
You love me not.
I do not like your faults.
A friendly eye could never see such faults.
A flatterer's would not, though they do appear as huge as high Olympus.
Come, Antony, and young Octavius, come! Revenge yourselves alone on Cassius. For Cassius is aweary of the world. Hated by one he loves, braved by his brother, checked like a bondman, all his faults observed, set in a notebook, learned and conned by rote to cast into my teeth. Oh, I could weep my spirit from mine eyes. There is my dagger, and here my naked breast, within a heart dearer than Pluto's mine, richer than gold. If that thou beest a Roman, take it forth. I, that denied thee gold, will give my heart. Strike as thou didst at Caesar, for I know, when thou didst hate him worse, thou lovest him better than ever thou lovest Cassius.
Wow. Well, Cassius has certainly changed his tune since Act 1. He's now screaming and shouting and saying, well, why don't you just kill me if you think I am lying? Why don't you just kill me if you think I denied you money? Again, Cassius is being manipulative, but no longer is he trying to appeal to Brutus's nobility and his honor and his stoicism. He's trying to appeal to his emotions, because that is a little more powerful. We'll see how Brutus reacts.
Sheath your dagger. Be angry when you will, it shall have scope. Do what you will, dishonour shall be humour. Oh, Cassius, you are yoked with a lamb that carries anger as the flint bears fire, who, much enforced, shows a hasty spark, and straight is cold again.
You'll notice how Brutus is now back to being calm and emotionless. When he's confronted with all this emotion, he can't maintain that anger for very long, and he's back to his normal self. Cassius has won.
Hath Cassius lived to be but mirth and laughter to his Brutus, when grief and blood ill-tempered vexeth him?
When I spoke that, I was ill-tempered too.
Do you confess so much? Give me your hand.
And my heart too.
Oh, Brutus.
What's the matter?
Have not you love enough to bear with me when that rash humour which my mother gave me makes me forgetful?
Yes, Cassius. And from henceforth, when you are over-earnest with your Brutus, he'll think your mother chides and leave you so.
Let me go in to see the generals. There is some grudge between them. 'Tis not meet they be alone.
You shall not come to them.
Nothing but death shall stay me.
Now, what's the matter?
For shame, you generals, what do you mean? Love, and be friends, as two such men should be. For I have seen more years, I'm sure, than ye.
How vilely doth this cynic rhyme.
Get you hence, sirrah. Saucy fellow, hence!
Bear with him, Brutus, 'tis his fashion.
I'll know his humour when he knows his time. What should the wars do with these jigging fools? Companion, hence!
Away, be gone!
Lucilius and Titinius, bid the commanders prepare to lodge their companies tonight.
Sir.
And come yourselves and bring Messala with you immediately to us.
That bit with the poet is not really essential to the plot. I would read through the side notes, but don't feel as though you missed anything. It's largely just some comic relief to break up the fight that we just had.
Lucius, a bowl of wine?
I did not think you could have been so angry.
Oh, Cassius, I am sick of many griefs.
Of your philosophy you make no use if you give place to accidental evils.
No man bears sorrow better. Portia is dead.
Huh? Portia?
She is dead.
How escaped I killing when I crossed you, sir? Oh, insupportable and touching loss. Upon what sickness?
Impatient of my absence, and grief that young Octavius with Mark Antony have made themselves so strong, for with her death that tidings came. With this she fell distract, and her attendants absent swallowed fire.
And died, sir?
Even so.
Oh, ye immortal gods.
Speak no more of her. Give me a bowl of wine. In this I bury all unkindness, Cassius.
My heart is thirsty for that noble pledge. Fill, Lucius, till the wine or swell the cup. I cannot drink too much of Brutus's love.
Come in, Titinius. Welcome, good Messala. Now, sit we close about this taper here, and call in question our necessities.
Portia, art thou gone?
No more, I pray you.
And so now we switch from the more emotional, personal side of the scene, and we move into the plot. How are Cassius and Brutus going to fight against Antony and Octavius? This coming scene is going to set the battle for Act 5. So we're getting away from the character development and more into the plot development. And again, take a look at this last question. How do you view Brutus's behavior regarding the news of Portia's demise? Does he come across as cold-hearted? And so ask yourself, is Brutus unable to feel emotions? Is this a conscious choice? Is he masking something else? Who is Brutus? He's a difficult man to get a reading on. Well, let's go ahead and finish up the second half of Act 4, Scene 3.
Messala, I have here received letters that young Octavius and Mark Antony come down upon us with a mighty power, bending their expedition toward Philippi.
Myself have letters of the self-same tenure.
With what addition?
That by prescription and bills of outlawry, Octavius, Antony, and Lepidus have put to death 100 senators.
Therein our letters do not well agree. Mine speak of 70 senators that died by their prescriptions, Cicero being one.
Cicero one?
Cicero is dead, and by that order of prescription. Had you your letters from your wife, my lord?
No, Messala.
Nor nothing in your letters writ of her?
Nothing, Messala.
That, methinks, is strange.
Why ask you? Hear you aught of her in yours?
No, my lord.
Now, as you are a Roman, tell me true.
Then like a Roman, bear the truth I tell. For certain she is dead, and by strange manner.
Why, farewell, Portia. We must die, Messala. With meditating that she must die once, I have the patience to endure it now.
Even so, great men great losses should endure.
I have as much of this in art as you, but yet my nature could not bear it so.
Well, to our work alive, what do you think of marching to Philippi presently?
I do not think it good.
Your reason?
This it is. 'Tis better that the enemy seek us. So shall he waste his means, weary his soldiers, doing himself offence, whilst we, lying still, are full of rest, defence, and nimbleness.
Good reasons must of force give place to better. The people twixt Philippi and this ground do stand but in a forced affection, for they have grudged us contribution. The enemy, marching along by them shall make a fuller number up, come on refreshed, new added, and encouraged. From which advantage shall we cut him off, if at Philippi we do face him there, these people at our back?
So we start to look at the battle plans. Brutus wants to go attack at Philippi because he feels the people in between their army and Philippi will go and join Mark Antony's army. Whereas Cassius says, well, we should make them find us, and by doing so they'll run out of people. Both are, again, opposite points of view. Brutus wants to be more offensive. He doesn't feel the people won't join, whereas Cassius thinks they should just sit tight. We'll see who wins out.
Hear me, good brother.
Under your pardon. You must note beside that we have tried the utmost of our friends. Our legions are brimful, our cause is ripe. The enemy increaseth every day. We at the height are ready to decline. There is a tide in the affairs of men, which taken at the flood leads on to fortune. Omitted, all the voyage of their life is bound in shallows and in miseries. On such a full sea are we now afloat, and we must take the current when it serves, or lose our ventures.
Then, with your will, go on. We'll along ourselves and meet them at Philippi.
The deep of night is crept upon our talk, and nature must obey necessity, which we will niggard with a little rest. There is no more to say.
No more. Good night. Early tomorrow will we rise and hence.
Lucius, my gown. Farewell, good Messala. Good night, Titinius. Noble Cassius. Good night and good repose.
Oh, my dear brother. This was an ill beginning of the night. Never comes such division between our souls. Let it not, Brutus.
Everything is well.
Good night, my lord.
Good night, good brother.
Good night.
Good night, Lord Brutus.
Farewell, everyone.
And so at the end of the meeting, once again, Brutus has won out. He doesn't have a great track record. You'll remember how he was the one that wanted Mark Antony to speak. He was the one that wanted Mark Antony not to be kept alive. It makes you wonder why Brutus continues to make the decisions over and over again, why the logical one is always gone to, instead of Cassius, who has a bit of emotion and a bit of manipulation. What do you think Shakespeare is trying to say here? What happens when you always give solely to reason? Another possible theme, perhaps? Let's finish up Act 4 with Brutus's final interaction with another familiar character.
Give me the gown. Where is thy instrument?
Here in the tent.
What? Thou speakst drowsily. Poor knave. I blame thee not. Thou art o'erwatched. Call Claudio and some other of my men. I'll have them sleep on cushions in my tent.
Varus and Claudio.
Calls, my lord.
I pray you, sirs, lie in my tent and sleep. It may be I shall raise you by and by on business to my brother Cassius.
So please you, we will stand and watch your pleasure.
I will not have it so. Lie down, good sirs. It may be I shall otherwise bethink me. Ah, look, Lucius. Here's the book I sought for so. I put it in the pocket of my gown.
I'm sure your lordship did not give it me.
Ah, bear with me, good boy. I am much forgetful. Canst thou hold up thy heavy eyes a while and touch thy instrument a strain or two?
Aye, my lord, an't please you.
It does, my boy. I trouble thee too much, but thou art willing.
It is my duty, sir.
I should not urge thy duty past thy might. I know young bloods look for a time of rest.
I have slept, my lord, already.
It was well done, and thou shalt sleep again. I will not hold thee long. If I do live, I will be good to thee. This is a sleepy tune. O murderous slumber, layest thou thy leaden mace upon my boy that plays thee music? Gentle knave, good night. I will not do thee so much wrong to wake thee. If thou dost nod, thou breakst thy instrument, I'll take it from thee. And good boy, good night. Let me see. Let me see. Is not the leaf turned down where I left reading? Here it is, I think. How ill this taper burns. Who comes here? I think it is the weakness of mine eyes that shapes this monstrous apparition. It comes upon me. Art thou anything? Art thou some god, some angel, or some devil? It makes my blood cold and my hair to stare. Speak to me what thou art.
Thy evil spirit, Brutus.
Why comest thou?
To tell thee thou shalt see me at Philippi.
Well, then I shall see thee again.
Aye, at Philippi.
Why, I will see thee at Philippi then. Now I've taken heart, thou vanishest. Ill spirit, I would hold more talk with thee.
So Brutus is visited by the ghost of Caesar. Or is he? Is this actually Caesar coming back to life? Is it simply Brutus hallucinating? Is it rather Brutus's evil spirit, a portion of Brutus that is coming out as a result? And what does it mean, I will see you again at Philippi? There is the literal translation that Brutus will again see the ghost at Philippi. Or, of course, it could mean something else, that Brutus will be reunited with Caesar after death at Philippi. This calls into question many things, such as the role of fate and free will. Was Caesar doomed because of the prediction? Is Brutus also doomed because of the prediction? Or are these simply people stating what will happen because of the actions that these characters are taking? Let's wrap up Act 4 now.
Boy, Lucius, Varus, Claudio, sirs, awake, Claudio!
The strings, my lord, are false.
Oh, he thinks he's still at his instrument. Lucius, awake!
My lord?
Didst thou dream, Lucius, that thou so criedst out?
My lord, I do not know that I did cry.
Yes, that thou didst. Didst thou see anything?
Nothing, my lord.
Sleep again, Lucius. Sirrah, Claudio. Fellow, thou awake?
My lord. My lord.
Why did you so cry out, sirs, in your sleep?
Did we, my lord?
Aye. Saw you anything?
No, my lord, I saw nothing. Nor I, my lord.
Go and commend me to my brother Cassius. Bid him set on his powers betimes before, and we will follow.
It shall be done, my lord. It shall be done, my lord.
And so ends Act 4. Again, not much happens in Act 4. Brutus and Cassius have a fight. They make up. They decide to follow Brutus's theory of attacking Philippi immediately, and Brutus is visited by the ghost of Caesar, who tells him that he will see him again at Philippi. And now we're all ready for the conclusion, the final action of our plot pyramid, when everything gets wrapped up. Again, who is going to be the tragic hero? Will it be Brutus and his flaw of overly analyzing things, of not using emotion? Will it be Cassius and his flaw of being too manipulative? Perhaps it was Caesar. Remember, a tragic hero needs to acknowledge their flaw, realize that they were wrong at the end, before they face death. Only then are they a tragic hero, and not just a villain. Well, if you're ready, go ahead and start Act 5, and we'll wrap up Julius Caesar. Thanks for stopping by.